It's not that I'm an MSI fanboy, but it is also that I'm an MSI fanboy. MSI is a brand that is well known for laptops, for monitors, for desktop components. Specifically me, I always shoot for MSI wherever possible because I know that they're very reliable and they have high quality. My motherboard on my desktop right now that I just built has an MSI motherboard. My power supply is MSI. I just ordered an MSI GPU. It's just not here yet, unfortunately, for this video, but it's coming. So I like MSI. That's my intro. It's not about MSI, it's about MSI, Cubi, NUC, AI. I just wanted to tell you guys, I'm not just like, oh, he's doing an MSI thing. He's like, whatever. No, I actually put my money, I take my wallet, I use my credit card, and I buy components from MSI for my primary desktop. So when it comes to a mini PC, I have the confidence to test and recommend a mini PC from MSI because if I'm able to use my desktop and put all my professional stuff on there and say, you know what, I'm going to trust MSI with my work and my data, I can recommend their mini PC to you guys. So what is this here? This is the MSI Cubi NUC AI. It is an Intel based using Intel Core. This one here is Intel Core Ultra 7 155H. It's going to be enabled with the AI because it does have those neural processing units, the AI acceleration that's on the chip there. So you're going to get access to a lot of the cool AI stuff that now comes with Windows. This mini PC is very, very, very tiny. Don't want to spoil the video too much. Very small, like actually so small. It's so small. It's smaller than my hand. It has good expansion, good ports on it. You can do some really cool stuff with it. They're emphasizing the AI features on it as well. I know you guys are tired of hearing AI this, AI that, but this isn't like a bad version of AI where it's like taking our jobs. This is like, no, let's make our jobs better. Let's make our education better. Let's make our workflow better. Let's make our learning capabilities better. Let's get better accessibility by using something like this that has some AI features in it to accelerate that. But even if you don't care about the AI stuff, I'm still going to show you just the really cool general mini PC out of this tiny little guy. And if you do care about AI, I'm going to show you that as well. So I'm going to do a full in-depth review of this little guy here. So let's jump in. See what we get inside. So we get our little MSI literature. Very nice. We'll get into that later. Backplate. So if you want to mount it on the back of a monitor, I won't do that because I like to actually display my stuff front and center. 120 watts, so it's it's actually a lot of power for the size of that thing. That's very good, actually. Nice. So it's not a giant thing, right? It's meant to be a nice little clean package. So we have the front here, post-consumer recycled. Oh, it's a post-consumer recycled material. Very nice. Metal bottom is very nice, actually, because it's going to give it a lot of structure. Right? If you have this mounted here, for example, on the back of a monitor, you're going to be comfortable that this bottom piece here is not going to just break over time with being mounted in. Power in. One of the HDMIs, or one of the USB-Cs, second USB-C, dual HDMI. So you're going to end up with two displays here. We'll test both, use two at a time. You do get two Ethernet as well. 2.5 gigabit on both of them, so that's nice and fast. Redundancy too, so if you're using it for something that's very important, like a server type thing, server type setup, you're not going to worry about having redundancy if one of your lines goes down. That's very nice there. We also have on the front here, so here we have 3 more USBs, 2 USB-A. These USB-As are going to be fast. They're going to be 10 gigabit. So 10 gigabit is nice because it's going to allow you to run things like NVMe enclosure. So you can get yourself an NVMe enclosure off of those there, and you'll get the full bandwidth out of a closure like this, giving you around 1,000 megabytes per second, which is very fast for things like NVMe storage. You're also going to get a slower 10 gigabit USB-C, same idea here. So you get lots of fast ports on the front there. That's awesome. I love to see fast ports. The back ones here, as you can see, let's zoom in there. These are the serious ones here. Look at those little lightnings. What do those mean? Thunderbolt 4. Real Thunderbolt 4 ports on here. Thunderbolt 4 is going to be critical because you will be able to run various types of things. One of the things you're going to be able to run with a Thunderbolt 4 is docks like this. This is a Thunderbolt 4 USB 4 style dock. There's all different brands you can get. This is just one example, and you can actually get extended storage. You can get 2 times 40 gigabit, which is Thunderbolt 4, more display out, more USB-C if needed, right? This thing actually has pretty good I/O, but there's the potential that you want to expand it even more. You can also run things like this here. This is a NVMe enclosure. It's different than one like this because this here is only 10 gigabit. This here is going to support 40 gigabit Thunderbolt 4 or USB 4, which allows you to do things like display, but it also allows you to have, you can see there, massively improved speed. Just like that. Okay, so on the bottom here we have thermal pads to keep things nice and cool. I can see there's probably an NVMe under that one, and a second one there with a nice giant piece of copper there. So that's going to actually work as a heatsink. So this is metal, and this will actually allow heat to come off of it. You actually have a large piece of copper as well that will pull even more heat off of the NVMe and other components, and that will be going through these thermal pads. So inside, as you can see, we have the first NVMe here, name brand. They have a Western Digital in here, SN740, I'm guessing. Oh, ooh, even better. SN5005. I actually never tested one of these. Nice NVMe in there. Very, very good. You can see tucked under there, we have our Wi-Fi underneath there. So replaceable Wi-Fi, NVMe that can be upgraded or replaced if need be. But you actually have a second slot here. So, you don't have to necessarily upgrade your storage by, swapping out. You don't necessarily have to swap out the drive, which is fine. You can do that if you want, but you can also just add in a 2242 size NVMe there. So you can easily upgrade your storage here without having to only use the primary one. You can of course use that as well. And just see if it's going to fit like a dual side. Oh, easily, yeah. And it actually is not even touching the heatsink or the Wi-Fi underneath. So you can also put in a dual-sided here. So this actually does support that first slot. If you want to upgrade this later, get yourself a 2242, and for that slot, you can easily upgrade this and put in a dual-sided NVMe. That's going to allow you to easily put in a 4 terabyte or even an 8 terabyte. This is an 8 terabyte. Now the RAM is also on brand RAM. We do get some nice Samsung memory here. It is DDR5 memory, 5600 megatransfers, very nice. So that's nice, but that they put in a single 16 gigabyte stick. Some people, I guess back in the day, would say, oh, well, there's only a 16 gigabyte stick, single, that's a bad thing. But that was more of an issue with DDR4. DDR4, you would actually end up with latency issues when you had one stick of memory and you slapped it in there. We don't have that issue with DDR5. You're actually getting very, very, very minimal performance loss when you go with a single stick of DDR5. In most cases, it's actually irrelevant, not really important. So the nice thing is when you get one stick of 16, you can put that in, you can slap another stick in and take yourself to 32 very easily without having to essentially go out and take that 8 gigabyte stick, throw it in the garbage, and get yourself 2 sticks. You only have to buy yourself 1 stick. Okay, it's been several days. I've actually been messing with this thing quite a bit for the past few days, just playing around with it. It's an interesting little product, and they're really emphasizing the AI component with it. These chips, this mini PC here does come with an Intel Core Ultra chip, which does have NPU, so neural processing unit specifically designed for AI. There's the AI Plus and there's the AI model. This is the AI model, not the AI Plus. There's a little bit less that you can do with this one, but it's still pretty cool. So let's come in here and just have a quick look at the specs here whatsoever. This model here is equipped with a 155H Core Ultra. Very, very, very good CPU. It's quite efficient actually. It's an interesting chip because it can have various amounts of kind of TDP. You can spec it out to have a very, very high TDP, so you're going to put in like a gaming laptop. Or you can, put it down into something like a mini PC or an Ultrabook or something like that. And you can actually scale the wattages, and the performance will scale a little bit too. But overall, even at a lower wattage, it's pretty efficient. Again, this one does have 16 gigabytes of RAM. I have done some tests already, and then I will upgrade it to the 2 sticks just to kind of see what the difference is, just so you can know. So that's 16 gigabytes right now, 1 of 2. It is DDR5, so it's not nearly as much of an issue to have 1 stick as it would be if you had DDR4. Not even close. You might see a little bit of a performance drop, but we will test that actually. I'm just going to do a little bit of recording first. That included Western Digital's very good. Western Digital SN5. That's the first time I've wanted to test that SSD for a long time. The SN5000. I've heard they're really fantastic. Wi-Fi 6E, no problems. I've already tested it. And then you do get those neural processing units. Very good for doing neural type processing stuff. And the graphics, it doesn't say, but it does have Intel Arc graphics, Series 1, which are very good. Intel Arc there's one more generation now, which is a little bit more powerful, but even the original one, it's quite good. So here is a bit of a quick cut. I did put in 2 sticks of RAM, 48 gigabyte for both of them. You can see here 96 gigabytes of RAM. Isn't that awesome? So it does support 96 gigabytes of RAM. More potentially. I don't have more, but I know for sure it supports 96 gigabytes. I've even done Cinebench runs and that with 2 kits. Right, so right now we have display 1 over HDMI. We have display 2 over HDMI, but we have these two USB ports, right? So you can plug in that and plug it directly into your monitor. Some monitors support USB 4, some don't. This one does. I could just plug this directly in there and it'd be no problem. I would get display over that USB 4. The other thing you can do is you can hook up a dock like this. So I could go with, where's the PC one? Oh, right there. So you can plug that into your, like that right there. I unfortunately don't own more than that many monitors, right? So I can't test it, but then you could go like that there. You could plug that in, right? Plug that in, and then I would get another display there. So if I had 3 monitors or 4 monitors, this thing does support up to 4 monitors. That's fantastic. A lot of people worry about when you get a mini PC, you don't get all of the fixins because it's smaller than a full desktop. Like if you get a full desktop or build a full desktop, like my primary desktop down there. So you can see there's an MSI X870E board, right? And with these here, you get, I have ports up here, 1, 2, 3, and then of course on the back of the motherboard, I'm just packed full of ports, right? Especially on these X670. I have dual USB 4 on the back of this thing, so it's not hard to get tons of ports on something like this. Then the becomes when you get a mini PC, you're going to start losing out on ports. Well, this thing here already has a lot of ports as it is, has a lot of display options. My graphics card down there, I can put 4 displays out of that graphics card. You look at a mini PC and you're like, man, there's only 2 ports in the back of that for displays. Well, you can use the USB 4. You can use the USB 4 and you could leverage that. You can use docks like this. This is just one example. There's other docks. So the fact that it has dual USB 4 and it also has 2 displays means you can hook up 4 displays, which is fantastic. But moreover, you can also increase the ports on it already. Okay, so let's look at some software here. I'm pretty comfortable with MSI software. Obviously, my motherboard is MSI. Here you can do things like there's AI Engine, which helps with power, that kind of stuff, recovery modes, general settings, all kinds of stuff here, diagnoses. You don't have to install this, but I would. There's system performance modes. You can go extreme performance, silent, software control mode, right? Other things that are important in here though are a system update. You come in here and you go live update, and if there's drivers that Windows doesn't find, Windows doesn't necessarily always find your drivers. You kind of also don't want to get your drivers from Windows. There's a software there too, 60-day free. But if I needed a BIOS update or something like that, you can get it from here. Just like on a laptop, there's different modes here. So there's balanced, performance, and silent. We move that over here. So we're in performance mode, and you can see here that the watts are able to stay much higher on the mini PC when we're running in performance mode. So a lot of times people would just leave it in balanced, but the nice thing here is when you leave it in performance mode, you're going to get that higher watts. You can see here 13. When we're in this performance mode, we're able to get around, let's see here, 13,672. That's very good on this iGPU here, on this CPU here. So if we come in here, we'll open up hardware info. Now, if you have a much larger device, like say you have an MSI Stealth or something like that, like the Stealth 18 from last year, they came with the Core Ultra Series 1, and they would be spec'd at a higher watt. The 155H is a configurable wattage. So they can go much higher, 100 watts, for example, you'll get more performance, but you can also bring it down. You can bring down the watts, which would slightly decrease the performance, but it would also decrease the noise. So here you can see, for example, on this mini PC here, we're configured to sit at 42, about 40, it'll bounce up and down, but I'd say 40 or so to 42 on average. Yeah, 42 on average under that performance mode setting. So we're under extreme performance mode, right? It's going to sit at that there. And that's pretty good. It's going to give us, around, 13,400 is consistent. It just keeps running, but we're not getting serious throttling. Like see that run. It came down a touch. We're still at 13,000. So you're going to be pretty consistent at 13,000 there, which is quite good, honestly. 13,000 in Cinebench is going to be more than enough for heavy 4K video editing. Seriously, like when it comes to CPU, heavy 4K video editing. And spoiler for when we get to the editing part as well, the iGPU in here is very good for video editing. I actually do all of my video editing on a Core Ultra based laptop. So this thing you may be like, doesn't have a dedicated graphics. I'm a creator, I do that. You'll be fine. Honestly, you'll be fine. There is ways to improve this and get dedicated graphics, but you don't need it. I promise you right now, you don't need it. Well, let's check how quiet this thing is. It's super quiet, even though it's under extreme performance mode. Sub 40 dB I consider pretty quiet, honestly, for something ripping. It's kind of in line with my Ultrabook here. Now we're going to go to balance there. So at this mode here, we are going to drop off around 5-6 watts. Right? It'll get a little quiet. It'll take a minute, but it'll get a little quieter. There it goes. Drops down further. There we go. And with this here, I've actually already, I'll be frank, I've already done some runs here. But with that run there, we actually end up getting around 10,055, 555. So you do lose about 3,000 going down to that balance mode. Still good though, honestly, it still runs quite well. But you know, you can get more if you put it in that performance mode over here. So if you throw in that performance mode, you are going to get better performance out of it too. So they've actually downed the wattages here quite a bit. So it does have a burst of 41, and then it seems to sit around 2022 watts, which is, that's pretty much what I'd expected of a mini PC. So that's good, right? You're not going to have any problems with that there. 27 here. So we're getting 27 as a kind of just hanging out right there. So 45 is your burst there, a quick little burst of 45. And then, you know, we're dropping down to about 27. That's kind of standard for a mini PC. Between 20 and 30 is pretty standard. And, you know, they're giving it the power it needs to still perform, but not be super loud. And again, it's really quiet. It's always exaggerated by the microphone, but 36. And you have it here rather than mounted to the back. Of course, on the back, you wouldn't even hear it. If you mounted it to the back using a VESA mount on the back of your monitor, you wouldn't hear it at all. So let's say I got a few other benchmarks here. So the Ethernet that's as fast as my Ethernet can go. I only have gigabit Ethernet. This is faster. These can go faster. They're 2.5 gigabit. So they would run considerably faster if you had that Ethernet. I don't. But that's going to allow you to have really good speeds regardless. And the nice thing is then if you're using it, there's other uses you could use for this. You know, for like a server type thing, you could certainly do it with this thing if you have it hooked up. The Wi-Fi is also fast. That's again as fast as my Wi-Fi goes. It's Wi-Fi 6. That's as fast as my Wi-Fi can go anyways. I don't even have Wi-Fi 7, so that's quick, nice, fast Wi-Fi. I've had no dropouts or anything like that. Now there is the internal storage and external storage. I'll show you the internal storage. It's very fast, right? It's got that WD 5000, very, very fast NVMe there, and it doesn't run hot. Right, it doesn't run hot at all. Where are we here? SN, right? Check out the temperatures here. Yeah, 33. It's 33, 34. No temperatures at all. I'm not loading it or anything like that, right? But it is a relatively cool kind of thing there. Now you do have multiple ports on this that you can run. So there's the front USB-C right there. Just turn on that light there. That front USB-C right there. That's a fast 10 gigabit. And you can see here we're getting 10 gigabit speeds. We also have USB-A that run just as fast, right? USB-A 1, 2. Right now I'm just using one of these as like a dongle for this here because I don't feel like using Bluetooth. And it's running nice and quick. Right? Very, very, very fast. I hooked that up, the same drive, with a USB-A connection. But now things get serious. Remember how in the intro, on the back here, on the back of the device, we have 2 USB 4 ports. That's 2 USB 4 ports. USB 4 can run massively faster. Now, my SSD is very full. It is completely full of video files, so the writes are like slower. It has nothing to do with the mini PC. It's just my actual NVMe enclosure. It's just packed full. But as you can see here, how fast those reads are. Actually, we'll open that up here. So we'll bring up the reads and front USB, go like that. So you can just see just how much faster. That's fantastic. So if you're doing things like I said before, heavy video editing, this is the type of computer you would do video editing on because the CPU is very powerful, but we'll get to it later. But the iGPU that's linked to that 155H is very good. Intel is superb for video editing. Going to be nice and quick. If you're driving it massively full, these would be the same. Be super quick. Now, another cool thing that I want to show you is there is this little plug that goes in the side there. Of course, you can just use the power button there, but this little guy right here, it actually plugs right in there, just like a normal power switch, right? Plugs right in there, and it is actually just a little power switch. So if you don't want to necessarily always be reaching over here to press that, you could use this. More specifically, if this is mounted to the back of the monitor, if you go with the VESA mount setup and you're not going to really worry too much about, you know, accessing the ports and all that, or maybe you have, you know, a little dock, this thing you can bring down there and it has a little piece of tape on it and you could just have right there, press the button and right away, you know, it goes into sleep. Right, very cool. So that's that there. Now, if you actually get the one step up and you get the Cubi NUC AI, it's a little different because this here actually you end up with a, you know, this is just a standard power button, but you actually end up with biometric logins on the NUC AI Plus. This is not about that, but if that's something that matters to you, right, you can use the NUC AI Plus and end up using that to have biometric login, for example. It also does have a dedicated Copilot button on the AI Plus. This one does not. It's just a standard power button, but you do get this cool thing right here. Again, if you need to have biometric login, if you do have very important information on here, for example, you have this in a setting, potentially in an office or something like that, and you're working with, I don't know, health data or business files or something like that, and you need to have biometric login, and you don't want it to be a pain where every single time you go through some crazy password type stuff. Those biometric logins are actually very common on laptops. Like laptops will have fingerprint scanners. You go like that, you get a fingerprint scanner, or you'll have Windows Hello where it unlocks using biometric login, like infrared, for example, scanning your face. Mini PCs typically don't have that, right? Like my desktop also doesn't have that. I don't have biometric logins. So if I'm going to a mini PC, like I have other mini PCs, I can't just come up here and go scan it like that and use a biometric login, which is obviously more secure than a password. Okay, so now what makes a PC an AI PC? Well, there's various things. This is the NUC, not the NUC Plus. The NUC Plus does have some extra features, which we can talk about, but even the NUC here is still an AI. It's just not an AI Plus. Then you do get some cool AI features built in here. So one of them I'm going to show you here is a cool Paint one. So if you come into Microsoft Paint, I'm going to be totally frank. I didn't mess around with Copilot too much. And then I was doing this review. I was like, we're going to mess around with Copilot. So there's some cool stuff in here, right? Like you can come in here, you can go in and you can use things like the image creator. So we can put in here, we can put, let's just put man gaming on MSI. I'm not sure if it will get the brand, but MSI laptop at coffee shop. I have no clue if it's going to work, but let's find out. Give it a sec. Okay, there we go. That took an extra minute or two. Is it gonna? Oh, it actually found MSI. That's sick. Little chuckle. It actually knows it. So I guess it knew. It was like, MSI. That's their brand. Cool thing. Kind of looks like, what is that? It kind of looks like a cyborg. It even got the color shine through. A little cyborg. It could be a cyborg. The dude there with the cool hair. He flipped the other way. Oh, he's got the more sleek one there. Now, this is the gamer. This is the gamer setup there. And this is the non-gamer. This is like a lunar lake or something like that. The lunar lake. Something like that there. Very cool. MSI. Yeah, what else we got there? Ooh, that might be... Oh, that's... Kind of takes me back. I'm going to be honest. I don't know if I haven't said this in the video yet, but my first ever gaming laptop that I bought personally with my money was an MSI Stealth GS60. It was thinner than that because it's the Stealth variant. 15.3 inch MSI Stealth. Love that laptop. Dog in park with daughter on a sunny day. Oops. Sunny day. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's misspell sunny. Sunny day. Let's see if it figures it out. Look at that. And it got the sunny day. Her running. Did a pretty good job, too. They don't have like 9 arms and stuff. That dog looks like, too. It's actually like pretty well done. It's really cool. Should I generate like all my thumbnails like that? This other girl with her mom, different dog. Real looking dog. She doesn't have like another arm coming out of her head. And then what you can do is, you can open this up here. Nope. And I could draw a picture like that, and then I can restyle the image. So there's actually a tool called Co-Creator. You can't do it on this one, but you can do it on the Plus, and you can enable Co-Creator. And then with Co-Creator, you can actually turn this little crude drawing that I did into a more advanced drawing. It'll interpret it and turn it into something much better, like realistic. So that's super cool. So that's another separation between the NUC and the NUC AI, NUC AI and NUC AI Plus. Your choice. If that's something you're interested in, you can go with the AI Plus, but your choice. Very cool. Now there is some other cool features as well. There is actually Translate. So I'm going to come in here, and I played around with this for a little while. This is super cool. There's me. Oh, this is a good one because this is a really hard one. MSI gave me a full tour. They were really gracious actually, and they gracious. That's not the term. I was very gracious, and they were very nice. They gave me a full tour of their setup. This is last year. It's not this year. And live captions. And yeah, it was really hard to hear because it was packed in there. It was super busy because they had all these cool monitors and stuff. And, they had like the MSI Claw coming out and all that cool stuff. So anyways, so come in here, for example, and, you can do CC captions like that, but I can also do it over here, right? So I can go live captions, turn it on there. It pops up here, ready to show live captions. Okay, so here's I'll turn it down. This guy's giving me the full rundown here of the Titan, last year's Titan. It was very hard to hear. I had to actually use AI to cut out all the noise because everyone was chilling out here and it was a blast. But yeah, like this guy's translating it out here, right? So, you know, maybe you're hard of hearing and I didn't do this and there's a lot of background noise in this video because there could be a lot of background noise. This thing is going to read that out for you, right? Very good. It's awesome, right? I talk fast and I don't always have subtitles in my videos. So let's say we'll come in here, right? Like you can do, you know, that kind of subtitles here, right? And Google's having them, but here, right, this is a YouTube video. It doesn't necessarily have to be a YouTube video. Okay, so here's me doing a video. Let me turn this down slightly. It might get confusing with both of us talking. So, right, this is a raw video, right? So the AI engine here is translating my video, or is captioning my video, right? It's captioning my video live. This is not done, there's no captions. I don't caption my video. If I put them on YouTube, it'll do them, but whether they're right or wrong is one thing. This is doing it for me. So if I were to, you know, if you're hard of hearing, or you're, you know, you have any type of disability when it comes to hearing, maybe I talk too fast, which I do, you can have this on here and this will then translate for you. This is huge, right? Whether you're professional and you're, you know, trying to take something like this and actually be able to read it, right? Or maybe you're a student and, you know, you're trying to learn, in learning scenario, it's going to help, right? Anyone who has any type of disabilities, this can be huge, right? But even just like if you're just using it for generic use, right? Like you can come down here. A lot of people find it easier to read subtitles. Like that's why people have stuff like Netflix and that, right? I don't necessarily talk clear all the time. I can talk fast and I have my own accent, right? And maybe you have a different regional accent and you find it hard to understand me, for example. Whatever the reason is, being able to come in here and live caption, the AI is able to easily keep up with this, even though the fact that I do talk fast. And this is a really good way of, you know, you can have this running while something is playing, somebody's talking, whatever, and actually have this going live and helping you keep up with what's going on if you're having issues keeping up with the person, keeping up with the video, or language barriers. So fantastic. This is a huge feature here. Anything that helps with accessibility to people who have a disability or accessibility to just the wider people. Like everyone can benefit from these type of tools. And this is where AI really accelerates the world, making it a better place where you're taking something that you can benefit from and making it more tailored and more suitable for your needs. This is huge. This is a fantastic tool. So, I mean, we're moving into AI-based, you know, these APUs that have AI built right into them. This is a fantastic use of it here. So we'll go like that here. We'll bring this up. Now, again, I've actually used this specific chip a lot for video editing, honestly. I'm going to be honest. Like the 155H, this specific one, I've used a lot. Probably my most used would not be this. This is probably my second most used. And I actually use Core Ultra laptop right now to do all my video editing. I use the iGPU. So you can watch this. We're going to bring in here this video file. Let's get a big one. So where was that one? So that's 1 gigabyte, right? And that's 520. Actually, let's bring in a few. We'll bring in 3. So we'll go like that here. We can bring them in. We're going to bring them right onto the timeline. Like that there. Oh, but I had to download something apparently. Boom. Video's processed, audio's processed, done. How fast was that? Very fast, right? 4 gigabytes here. So we're going to zoom out here and I'm going to show you how fast this is. Bring that in there. In theory, it'll be twice as slow. Okay. Video processed. That one's processed. We're able to scrub through there already. Oh, it already was processed. I just wasn't zoomed in. Editing on a 155H is you're going to rip. You're going to absolutely rip through when it comes to video editing. Like I said, I've done months and months of my life. I edited, it was a 155H. And it becomes much smaller. So 327 on HEVC versus 1.4. So it takes a lot more resources to compress a file like that. Come in here. Intel's quick, right? Intel Quick Sync Video, very good. Very, very, very good for video editing, honestly. 3%. So we're looking at about 1% every second and a half, I would say. We're going through there. I do all my video editing on Intel iGPUs here. I've just found that they work, right? Like I don't necessarily need a DGPU for what I do. I'm not doing 16K video editing with like 97 streams. It's not what I do, but I do typically 4 or 5 stream 4K video exports, and they can go up to an hour in length, and I have no problems doing that on here, right? There are things called eGPUs. You can see down there I have a little dock, and you can plop a DGPU. You can use this mini PC as is. Has a great iGPU, you're able to do video editing on it. CPU is quite powerful. But you can also hook it up to a DGPU over that USB 4. Here I have the USB 4 running into this little dock here, and I have my brand new, this is actually a huge time jump because I was waiting on this. This is my MSI Inspire. It's a 5070 Ti. I think the 5070 Ti is a fantastic GPU this generation, and the Inspire here is a small form factor one, so it's really small. Let's come over here and show it. Really small, physically small, thin, but it looks super clean and premium. I'm going to be using it in my desktop as well as on any GPU setup like this, depending on what I feel like doing. It's nice because it's not going to take up a ton of room. It's going to give me 16 gigabytes of VRAM, which is fantastic, especially for stuff like video editing and of course gaming, but video editing, professional tasks, that VRAM comes in super handy. It's also going to run quiet and cool. This is my first time using it. I'm excited. I just got it today. So let's fire it up together at the same freaking time. So one thing you can do with that is then you can come in here. This is just literally the video that I'm working on. Spoiler for the video, which you're partially already watched. So you can come in here, and now because we're using the SP4, we are going to be able to leverage that dedicated graphics and use a lot more. So we'll come in here. This is just my program. You can use whatever program you want. It's your choice. Put that up to 60, for example. 60 FPS. We come in here. Your program that you use for video editing would probably be very similar. Now we have access from the Intel QuickSync, which is built in and very good. Intel QuickSync is fantastic, especially for considering it's just an iGPU. It's very good because the Core Ultra stuff's awesome, but it's not going to beat out a 5070 Ti. Let's be honest here. So then you go like that there, and I export using the 5070 Ti, which is a fantastic GPU because, like I said, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. It'll be awesome. You can really turn this mini here, this MSI NUC, the Cubi NUC, into a, like, you can use it as is. It's fantastic. Honestly, it's fantastic. But you can turn it into something more if you desire to do so because it has the USB 4 in the back. Okay, so we'll just let that rip for a minute there. I mean, it's actually going really fast. Holy smokes. The fans aren't even going. That's the funny part. There they go. Okay. There, they just kicked in. So, I mean, that thing's going to just rip through. I mean, 16 gigabytes of VRAM. VRAM is actually very important for iGPU, for video encoding. The nice thing is the iGPU here, you can actually set the iGPU to have more VRAM if you desire. But I mean, it's not going to beat out a MSI Inspire over here. But yeah, so I mean, obviously for video editing, professional tasks, whatever it is you're doing that's a professional task, and you're like, you know, the mini is fantastic, but maybe you need more, right? The iGPU in there is just not quite enough for what you want to do. You want to extend it slightly. You're not locked in. And the nice thing about that as well is, say you buy this now, and then you're fine. You're fine with it for a year or two. You have no problems whatsoever. It's working amazing. But, you know, it's 2027, and you're like, well, you know, if I got a big desktop, I would have been able to put in, you know, an eGPU or something. Well, you can. It has USB 4. Hook in the USB 4, plug in your GPU of choice. In my case, the 5070 Ti is a really nice sweet spot. That was very fast. I haven't used the 5070 Ti in a while. Yeah, that's 1 minute and 33 seconds. Anyway, so you'll be able to encode videos really quick. The other thing you'll be able to do here, no, I don't care about that. The other thing you're going to be able to do here is you're going to be able to pull that out like that. I'm going to be able to plug in my expansion. That's an 8 terabyte little thingy. Get some more storage there, and then you're going to be able to rip some games. Now, you can obviously game on the iGPU here. I have used this specific GPU CPU combo, the 155H, a lot for gaming, honestly. So we'll come in here. You're not going to be gaming at like 4K max, whatever. We'll put on some XeSS here. I think we're turned way up though. We'll go like that. Yeah, ultra. Okay, let's start with low. So we'll go with low settings there like that. Make sure there's no ray tracing on. Yeah, low. Low should be good. So we'll go low, and we'll do some 1080p. Yeah, we'll just do some of that. We'll do some Hogwarts Legacy. Not exactly a very easy to run game, but we'll try that. A little 1080p gaming, why not? Just going to go with the basic Windows overlay. I'm not going for the whole thing. Just a proof of concept to really show that you can do, honestly, some extensive gaming on something like this. And again, it's not, you know, like a gaming PC, but Sure, why not? 30 FPS, 35 FPS. And it's the same you're going to get on some of the dedicated handhelds, right? Handheld gaming. And yeah, the consoles run games at this. If you actually play Hogwarts Legacy on a console, PS5, for example, you have a couple options. You have quality mode, which runs at 30-ish FPS, balance mode, which runs at about 45, and then you have performance mode. This is actually running above the quality mode, around the balance mode. Let me call it balance mode. And that's how I play. So very playable at 45 FPS, obviously, right? Yeah, can't play. It's not 120 FPS. Well, you know, I spent most of my life gaming at 30 FPS, and we're above 30 FPS. Good lows too, right? So it's gonna be fantastic. And again, this is Hogwarts Legacy. This is not. I'm not playing some indie, side scroller, some little potato type thing or something. This is Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah, it's a couple years old, but this is a hell of a demanding game. It still uses benchmarks. So, and it's incredibly playable on this little guy here. And it actually runs quiet for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe because the CPU is not being fully utilized. It's more the GPU cores there. So it's actually quieter. But look at this performance, right? So you're going to have no problems playing games on this. Like any real AAA title out right now, you can play no problems on this here. It's going to get to the point, I mean, in like 4 years, sure, you're not playing Hogwarts Legacy 2 at 4K or whatever, right? But you're going to be able to play 99.99999% of games on here with good frame rates or very good frame rates. So then what you do is you pick up this MSI Inspire 5070 Ti because it's pretty and runs cool, and you hook it up, and then you play 4K Hogwarts Legacy on high, no less. High, no less. We do have some scaling, but we're getting a good FPS of 50-55 at 4K high in a brutal area of the game to run on a mini PC. Mind you, again, hooked up to an eGPU, but that's the thing, right? You can take this little mini here. Having the USB 4 is critical. If it didn't have it, I would be sad, because you're able to not only do things like increase your storage a lot, you're able to hook up docks and things like that to get more peripherals. You're also able to hook up an eGPU like this. So you're able to take a product and make it much more, right? The mini PC on its own is its own contained unit. It's great. It's fantastic. But for some people, they may look at it and say, well, maybe I need a eGPU, or maybe I need this, maybe I need that. And that's not a problem because you have the USB 4 plugged in there. And you're able to do this here. This is balanced DLSS, by the way. It's not even performance. So balanced DLSS on high on a mini PC in Hogwarts Legacy at 4K. And it's running very well. The CPU, the Core Ultra CPU, is going to be enough to supply this GPU with what it needs, essentially. You can play with the settings. You could turn it down. You could add more scaling, whatever. You could also not be at 4K. You could be at 1440p or something like that, whatever. This is just proof of concept. The CPU gives the GPU what it needs in this case here. So yeah, fantastic. I also really like my GPU. It's pretty. And I was eyeing it for like a month and a half. And then I was like, you know what? We're going to buy the Inspire one. I was going to get the Ventus, which is also nice. But yeah, look at that beautiful. Look at that pretty thing on the left there. Just being goldy kind of colored, whatever it is. Yep, sweet. I think it's fantastic. The MSI Cubi NUC is an awesome product. Just as a general mini PC, it's really nice. It's actually very small. Like, it never shows up well on camera. They always look larger on camera, which is kind of annoying, to be honest, but it's a tiny little PC. Like, it's very small, right? Like, it's not much bigger than the palm of my hand. I'm not talking like my whole hand, like the literal palm of my hand. It's a tiny little thing. It's actually very narrow that way as well, right? Like, it's much smaller even than this mouse, significantly smaller, right? Like, it's not, the surface area of the thing is smaller than my mouse in terms of like diameter, diameter, right? It's a tiny little thing. So it's very, very small. Despite being very, very small, it runs very cool. It runs very quiet. It's not the case here. It's not running noisy. It's not running hot. It's running very well. But there's a recycled plastic here, right? You get that recycled plastic, so environmentally friendly. You get the metal on the bottom, which is good for mounting if you're going to mount it to the back of a monitor with the VESA mounts. actually be that way, I guess. VESA mounts, you'll mount it back there. The metal will give you some structure to feel confident, and it also just works as a heat sink as well. Inside's awesome on this thing here, right? You get lots of expandability, dual NVMe expansion. You can expand the RAM, of course, if need be. That's awesome. Good heat sinks on it as well. So it's looking good inside, of course, too. Ports are quite good on this mini PC. You do have your power thing there if you want to plug that in, and you can get your external power. Very good. That's awesome. You do get fast ports on the front, 3 of them, 2 fast USB-A, 1 fast USB-C. That's awesome. I love to see that. I don't like to see necessarily all slow stuff. On the back, we get a lot of good ports here. This thing's just packed full of ports. HDMI, HDMI. You also get PowerLink. PowerLink will allow you to do things like turn on a monitor, turn on a mini PC with a monitor. If you press the button on the mini PC, if you press the button on your monitor, having PowerLink, it will actually turn on the mini PC. That's awesome. It sounds a little weird, but then you don't have to turn on your mini PC and then turn on your monitor. You can just turn the monitor. Especially if this is mounted to the back of your monitor. That's an awesome feature there, because having that there, you can basically just press the power on your monitor. This is mounted behind the monitor. You can't see it, right? It's behind the monitor, right? You actually mounted it, for example, rather than having it sit here like I did for the video, you have it mounted to the back of the monitor on the VESA mount. I can't reach the power button. You could use this, right? But you can also just press the power button on there because it has the link there. And then you do get all the AI features. And they're obviously, pushing this not just as a mini PC, because it's not just a mini PC. It's emphasized as an AI-based mini PC where you're going to get those extra features such as live captions. You're going to get those extra graphical features as well. If you do want to step it up slightly further and you want to get things like live translations, a little bit more of the AI stuff for like graphical type processing, the recall feature is super cool as well. If you need that, that would be one instance where you would go from the standard one here, the Cubi AI, and you'd go up to the Plus. I think you should check it out. I mean, there's no reason to not look at it if you're looking at a mini PC. I think it's fantastic. And it does have the MSI seal of approval, meaning it's from MSI, and that means it has my seal of approval because I'm a massive fanboy of MSI. I use MSI for my desktop components. My GPUs are typically MSI wherever possible. My motherboards are always MSI, always MSI. My power supply is always MSI. I have 2 PCs. One of them is running an A1000GL, and the other one is running a 1300p, so a super beastie. When it comes to stuff like motherboards and power supplies and graphics cards, honestly, I trust MSI more than any other brand. And I put my money where my mouth is because I buy them with my money and I use them. So what does that have to do with the mini PC? If I, Tech Guy Bo, have spent years buying MSI specific products for my desktop that I use for video editing and professional work, I think that I can confidently say to you guys and recommend to you guys that you're going to be getting something like this and you have that MSI quality, that MSI warranty, MSI reliability that I would expect from my desktop, even if you're getting a tiny little thing.